Welcome back. We're watching the Senate today. Lawmakers are meant to reconvene, but movement toward an agreement to reopen the government appears unlikely. We can give you a live look of the Capitol dome there, glistening under the morning sun. Well, Speaker Johnson canceled plans for House lawmakers to return this week, and that's an effort to put pressure on the Senate to pass a funding bill. Let's bring in Ashley Davis and Joel Payne now from our Washington bureau. Ashley is a Republican strategist and formerly worked in the George W. Bush administration. And Joel is a CBS News political contributor and Democratic strategist. A warm welcome to you both, and happy Monday, as I like to say sarcastically to some people sometimes. But here we are. Both sides seem to be digging in their heels. Joel, ultimately, these things always end with some type of compromise. How does this end?
Well, I think there's a pretty clear path for it to end. Republicans have, on many occasions in public, talked about the need to, support, Americans' desire to have more affordable health care. Democrats have really drawn the line on health care here. Seems like there are some solutions in hand to address the spike in premiums that might come from not extending those ACA subsidies. It seems like that's a pretty simple fix that would certainly address the issue that is driving a lot of the Democrats being frustrated now. So that is in hand, but the incentives for both sides seem to right now to be to dig in. For Republicans, their incentives to continue to try to assert some dominance over the government. And I think finally for Democrats, the incentive from their base and from within their coalition is to fight. And that incentive, I think, has got us to where we are 6 days in, looking at no clear solution in hand. But I do think that there is an outcome here that both sides can get behind if they want to this week. Yeah. But President Trump and Republicans are going to have to take the lead here, I think.
Well, Ashley, we've talked this hour about President Trump making that threat to permanently fire federal workers as part of this shutdown. Who does that help?
Well, the only thing that it really helps, to be honest, are the people that want to get rid of kind of this overarching too much government conversation that the president's been having actually since he ran. But I mean, I agree with Joel, but I actually want to take it a step further here. I 100% do not like to legislate this way. I don't think it's good for anybody. And I actually, all the polls of who's getting the blame and everything, I actually think both sides, or Congress in general, are going to get a bad rap on this. I do think that we'll get some sort of solution with the ACA subsidies that everyone is talking about, but I think that does not happen until the end of the year when they expire. Congress is very good at dealing with deadlines, and that's actually the deadline. It's not right now. And so I think the Republicans and the Democrats continue to dig in, which is just very unfortunate. But there's two things that are happening. One, on Friday, some of the federal government will miss their first paycheck, not all, but some. And then next week, some of the military. And so is there going to be enough pressure that they will have a handshake to say, listen, we'll deal with these ACA subsidies by, in the next 6 weeks and then pass a new bill. But we'll see. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, but you make a good point. With each passing day and week, the pain bites a little harder. I want to discuss now these efforts to deploy federal troops across the country. We've got some fresh new polling on this, suggesting most Americans do not agree with the policy. Ashley, what is the president's goal?
Look, I think what he's trying to do, and I think he's actually doing a pretty effective job, is have Republicans look like they're tougher on law and order, or at least his administration look like they're tougher on law and order. Listen, obviously it's very dramatic sending in the National Guard, but these cities have major issues. And when you have mayors and governors in Oregon as well as Illinois saying that they are not needed or law and order is not needed right now in this capacity, all it's doing is helping the president with the overarching message that he is stronger on this issue. And I think it's going to continue. He feels that he's winning on this. And when you see destruction, in businesses and communities, especially in Chicago, and also you see what's happening in Portland in regards to the homeless and everything that's happening there, I think that he has a stronger message here right now.
And Joel, to Ashley's point, in our polling, we found that the top term Americans cite for Republicans is extreme, but the top word overall to describe Democrats is weak. So does this set a precedent for the future?
Well, specific to this issue related to sending the National Guard to different states, it is highly unusual what Donald Trump is attempting to do. It's why it's unpopular, because it's not supported by local decision makers, by the way, who were elected by folks in those communities. Those communities have agency over their local governance, and they can figure out the solutions to the complicated challenges that are inflicted on each geography and each region in the country. I mean, if Donald Trump really wanted to help, there's federal funds he could have reversed from pulling back from some of those local communities that are relying upon that support to fight crime. Republicans have, for whatever reason, decided to target areas that are led by Democratic mayors and governors to kind of starve them of resources. So there are constructive ways that Donald Trump could engage here, but he doesn't want the solution. He wants the problem. And I do think that at a certain point you reach a tipping point, Errol. Children being raided at 3 in the morning and being zip-tied in a rented van, that doesn't work. Enough. The American people are saying enough. That's why he's 20 points underwater in the latest CBS poll. And I don't think it's going to get any better for him. So, yes, we do have very complicated issues with crime all around this country. But I think the American people are saying enough.
Well, we appreciate both of you joining us here on this Monday. I heard a little bit of disagreement at the top of this chat, and I'll take that. A little bit of agreement, I should say, at the top of this chat. Ashley Davis and Joel Payne, thank you for being with us.